Hey guys, this is Joelle from Scratch Farmstead, and today we are going to make our favorite Homestead cornbread. I love this cornbread recipe, and we have been making it for the last few years since we started growing our own dent corns on our farm. And so back when we lived in the suburbs, we had a little front yard garden and we were growing 6 feet tall corn right in the middle of our front yard, and everyone was so excited about our sweet corn. But we actually didn't grow sweet corn. We grew a Oaxacan green dent corn that we then used to dry out and mill for cornmeal. And so ever since then, this cornbread has been a staple for us and we love it. And so it's really easy to make, and one of the reasons I came up with this recipe, and I love this recipe, is because it pretty much uses all things that we make or can have here on the farm or get locally, like butter and yogurt, honey, and our cornmeal, and then I just have to add the baking soda, the baking powder, and salt. So I love this recipe because it's super easy. It's basically just to dump all your ingredients into a bowl, stir it all up, put it in your pan, and you are good to go. I like to use cast iron for this cornbread, and so today we are using a 10-inch cast iron pan. I've also used the exact same recipe with a 12-inch cast iron pan, and that works great. It just needs a little lower of a cooking time because it's going to be a thinner cornbread. We just like to have a nice thick cornbread, so I'm using my 10-inch pan today, so it's going to need to bake for longer. Alternatively, if you don't want to bake in cast iron, you can also use an 8x8 pan. Even a 9x9 pan or a pie pan would also work just fine. Just adjust your cooking times accordingly. So today for our cornbread, it's going to be 2 cups of cornmeal, 1.5 cups of yogurt, 2 tablespoons of honey. If you like it sweeter, you can bump that up to maybe 1/4 cup, but we do about 2 tablespoons. 1 egg, 1/4 cup of melted butter, and then a teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of salt, and 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And that's it. And you're gonna dump it all in, stir it up, and you're ready to go. Is ready to go in the oven. I will note with cooking with cast iron, so I was afraid to cook with cast iron for a long time because I just thought everything was going to stick to it and it was going to be this huge mess. I was going to have rusty cast iron pans and I wouldn't know how to get everything out of them and everything was going to stick. But I have learned to cook with cast iron and now I love it, and that is pretty much all I cook in. So the secret to cast iron is that it needs to be hot. And so the pan needs to be hot when you put all the stuff in. So I preheat it. As I preheat my oven to cook the cornbread, I put the cast iron in the hot oven. So as I'm getting all my ingredients ready and gathered, my cast iron pan is heating up and is hot so that when I pour the stuff in, it's going into a hot pan, and this prevents it from cooking. So it's even starting to cook here around the edges of the pan already because it's hot. So you want to do a nice and greased up the sides, hot cast iron pan. Pour your filling in, and then you're gonna bake it at 350 degrees for 25 to 30 minutes, and it really is gonna depend on how big of a pan you're using. So this is gonna be more because it's a smaller pan, so it's a thicker cornbread. If I did a bigger pan, my 12-inch cast iron pan, I would probably only do it like 20 to 25 minutes. So check it, play with it, figure out what works for you, but on average, I would say 350 for 25 to 30 minutes. Okay, so this is our homemade gluten-free cornbread. It's a family favorite around here. We love it, and we hope you do too. So thanks for stopping by the farmstead. We'll see you next time.